Can I start?
It's loading, go live.
Okay.
All right, so we are now live on Facebook and it's recording.
Okay, I'll start. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nina Anderson, but you can call me Dr. Nina. I am the Executive Director and founder of TOVA Community Health, wishing everyone a happy Juneteenth. I invite you to our first live short virtual informational forum today at 6 p.m. for World Sickle Cell Day. In partnership with Sickle, a holistic approach to help patients with sickle cell anemia, entitled a medicinal plant-based sickle cell supplement. Welcome, everyone. Please tune into us live on Facebook at TOVA Community Health, and we ask everyone to share this live event on their Facebook page. This will help us spread the word about this new reformulated alternative medicinal supplement for the sickle cell community. This virtual forum is brought to you by Sickle in partnership with TOVA Community Health and the We Love You Foundation. We thank all of our sponsors and supporters. So now for our distinguished guest. One of our distinguished panelists is Dr. Coles. Dr. Coles is the CEO of Sickle. Dr. Coles is a biochemist with extensive experience in the biotech startup industry and research in drug development. He has held research appointments at Columbia Medical School and the Harvard Medical School. Dr. Coles has also held several positions in biopharma. He is the founder of Axelon Biomedical and Sickle LLC. His hobbies include astrophotography, and most of all, Dr. Coles enjoys being a grandfather and gardening. We are very lucky to welcome Dr. Coles here today. Our other distinguished panelists include our sickle cell warriors, who are here to share with you their great outcomes from using the sickle supplement. We have Mr. Steve White, who is a maintenance technician at a property management company, and Mr. Hanif Ayyub, who is a registered nurse currently working on his clinical doctorate degree. Both had consistently suffered with chronic pain and were desperate to find an alternative treatment to improve their quality of life, transform their outlook on life, so that they could be more productive, have more energy, and have less sickle cell pain crisis and hospitalizations. I am here to tell you that both are full-time employees and are married. Listen, after our short video, we will take questions and comments from the audience. Make sure that you put your questions and comments in the Q&A box or the chat box. Now, a best treat of all, Sickle is currently being offered at a 30% off rebate discount during the month of June. And I will tell you how you can place the orders during the presentation. And lastly, I want to just share welcoming remarks from Dr. Coles before we sit back and enjoy this short video as we take a trip back to Africa. Welcome, Dr. Coles.
Thank you, Dr. Nina. It's really a pleasure. I feel quite privileged to be invited to your forum on this special day. And just to say again, I guess congratulations to a lot of people for Juneteenth, let me pronounce that correctly, being now a national holiday as well as World Sickle Cell Day.
Yes.
So I'm here to answer any questions that might come up about our product, Sickle RBC Plus. And I'll just turn it back over to you. Thank you again.
Thank you. And now, sit back again, relax, and we're going to enjoy our short video. Sickle.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Coles, CEO of Sickle LLC, the makers of Sickle RBC Plus, a supplement for people with sickle cell disease. Let me give you a little background on Sickle RBC Plus. It's spelled Xickle, but we pronounce the X like an S, so it's sickle like in sickle cell. Before there was Sickle, there was a product called Niprosan. You might have heard of Niprosan. It was developed in Nigeria and approved for the treatment of sickle cell disease. It reduced the pain and crisis of children with sickle cell and also improved their attendance in school. Unfortunately, the company that made Niprosan went out of business and it's no longer available, but there is some good news. My company, Sickle, acquired the original Niprosan formula and greatly improved it for our product, Sickle RBC Plus, also called SCD-101. Sickle has over 4 times the anti-sickling activity of Niprosan. That's excellent for those with sickle cell. SC-101 or Sickle is also in clinical trials and has already been shown to improve the quality of lives of patients with sickle cell. The road to FDA approval of Sickle is long and complicated. In the meantime, the FDA says we can sell Sickle RBC Plus as a supplement. We just can't say that it's a treatment for sickle cell. You can order Sickle directly from our website, www.sickle.com. If you have more questions about Sickle, send us a note from the website, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. You can also call our toll-free number, 855-994-2553. Hope all is going well for you. Be well and stay safe. Thank you.
Hello, TOVA community. My name is Dr. Nina Anderson, but you can call me Dr. Nina. TOVA Community Health's mission is to provide comprehensive, compassionate, holistic care and outreach to individuals with complex medical conditions like sickle cell anemia and trait. I have been named Best Holistic Medicine Practitioner, and I am a sickle cell expert. Why are plant-based supplements needed? It has been 100 years since sickle cell disease was described in the literature, and there was only one drug available, hydroxyurea. The FDA has approved 3 more drugs, Indari, Oxybrita, and Adakveo. Chronic transfusions and hydroxyurea can help reduce sickle pain, flare-ups, and hospitalizations, but come with side effects. Bone marrow transplant and gene therapy are only for a very few people. They are expensive treatments and come with risk. The precursor to Niprosan was Sickle SCD-101 and Sickle RBC Plus. All have been shown to be effective in treating sickle cell disease. The sorghum plant is an ancient staple crop in Africa. Traditionally, the sorghum plant has been used by healers in the treatment of anemia and other health conditions in Africa. The sorghum plant does not require a lot of water to grow. It was originally brought from Africa with the slave trade to the New World, the United States. Sorghum is an animal feed, a grain, and is also made into syrup. Did you know the U.S. is the top producer of sorghum, followed by Mexico, India, Nigeria, and Argentina? Sickle is an African plant-based sickle cell supplement. When we talk about the use of plants and herbs for the purpose of a cure and mitigation of ailments in humans, we use the term phytomedicine. Plants have long been used for medicinal purposes by humans before recorded history. The National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRID, in Nigeria, was established in 1987 to manage sickle cell disease. NIPRID encouraged traditional and herbal medicine use through proper documentation, verification, and standardization of plant-based medicines. Before the sickle supplement came along, there was Niprosan. In 2003, Niprosan was developed as a treatment for sickle cell. In 2004, Niprosan was approved as a treatment for sickle cell by the Federal Drug Agency, the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, as an orphan drug. The production of Niprosan ceased in Nigeria in 2009 due to financial difficulties. But there's good news. The Niprosan formula has been greatly improved and is now available as Sickle RBC Plus and is also in clinical trials as SCD 101. There is research to support the anti-sickling properties in the sorghum leaf. According to the British Journal of Hematology, researchers found that transgenic mice with sickle cell using Niprosan have better survival rates than those study participants in the control group who did not receive Niprosan. Also, Niprosan reduced sickling in the lung tissue and improved oxygen carrying capacity. The British Journal of Hematology also published a study that found anti-sickling effects from Niprosan in vitro studies.
Steve White is a user of Sickle, and I guess you have been for quite a while, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So tell me your experience. How has it worked for you?
It has worked tremendously well for me. I realize I have less fatigue. I can get a good night's sleep most of the time. Also, less pain, less crisis, less hospital visit.
Oh my gosh.
All across the board, it's been a plus in my life.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that is the best result that we can expect from using Sickle. How long have you been using it? I saw the orders, but I haven't really kept track of each individual. So tell me.
I see. Well, I was in the clinical trial at first and then move on from the clinical trial. I think I was away from Sickle for possibly a year and a half. And then I came back to it. And it's been ever since. So I started back on it, I say back in October of 2019. I think I started back on it, and I've been on it ever since until this day.
Mm-hmm. And tell me more about your life before you started using Sickle.
Constantly in chronic pain from my condition, and also couldn't sleep well at night, wake up 3-4 times a night. And it's not being able to work, but not being able to work to 100% because of sometimes just the fatigue and the pain kicks in. It just caused me to not be able to perform at my optimal my best, perform at my best.
Well, really, we're really glad to hear that. Actually, you mentioned improved sleep, even though that's something we really haven't done in the clinical trials. It's something that people oftentimes report.
I didn't get it from my doctor. I had to order it a year's supplies worth in Nigeria. So when I went to nursing school, finally got in, I ordered 2 years supplies of Niprosan to make sure I made it through. And it didn't magically happen. And my experience is that one day I just started hurting less and being able to do more. And here's
So
the key.
when was that? When did you start that?
That was 2007, maybe. I think so. 2007 is when I took my first, I'll say, dose of the Niprosan type formulation. And I waited. It was nothing special. I opened it first. It's dirt. Like, if you really want to know what's in the capsule, I looked at it. I was like, they sent me dirt in the mail. I was like, okay, which is kind of what a phytomedicine is, right? Or tea, same thing, right? Same concept. Lo and behold, point taken is that after a couple of months, I started to have some little mini pains like in my hands and things like this, but I wouldn't have kind of major a crisis. So if you were to rank yours in a scale of pain, the 7, 8s, and 9s did not happen with the same amount of effort. Like, I could get myself there, but I would really have to maybe press it. And at that point, I started actually training in martial arts, specifically. So, well, my apologies. I did that since I was a teenager, but the older you get, I would have crises. So I would get hurt, have to sit in a chair for this, have a cane. It was, it's like being Benjamin Button. You're an old man early. And the reason I took the jump was because I was 25 years old, basically, approximately, and I was afraid to do anything. Really, I was afraid to do anything. I was like, I'm gonna have a crisis. I can't do that. It feels like torture, really. And there's a psychological, after a while of you don't have them, you start to become very anxious that it's gonna come, like everything's going fine. And this is an important part. Even if you're not having them, then you're worried about having them. And this is where Sickle really came in, 9% at the time, came into place, is that just time went on and I just started to have less. And I started to be able to do more. And I could tell, like, I'm less winded.
What is your experience in taking Sickle? How has it affected your life?
Can you be more specific? So because Sickle impacts everything, because I can keep going, it's impacted a lot. Well, I'll just answer. There's 3 things for me that matter. Life expectancy, which no one's been able to fix yet. So we're still working on the mortality bit, but quality. So they talk about mortality, how many years we have, but they do not talk about the quality of our life. These are reasonably new metrics, right? So quality adjusted life years. The point is that, what is it like for me to live? If I'm constantly in fear, if I'm always in the hospital, if I'm worried about different things, then that's problematic. And the ability to be consistent for me was the most important thing. I needed stability when it came to my illness. Even if I still had some pain, I can manage it. So having smaller pains or different things, it reduced the swings. It made it a lot more that I could anticipate when I would be hurting. Like, I would maybe feel it a little bit earlier to then notice. And fitness, truthfully, is that for me, being able to be more active, particularly physically. So I can go longer with higher sustained energy without going into a crisis. And I didn't measure that, but I just know I have the calculus in my own mind of the things that I can do to keep myself well.
The SCD 101 clinical trial found that those who participated reported less pain, less fatigue, improved sleep, and increased exercise capacity. Sickle is currently in the FDA Phase 1 clinical trial studies. There are ongoing clinical trials here in the United States. The objective is to get FDA approval, but that could take several years. In the meantime, we still have Sickle RBC Plus available for you to use.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say to people who might be interested in trying Sickle?
I would say, necessarily. I recommend anyone that have issues and struggle with chronic pain, struggling with not being able to find a level of quality of life because of debilitating pain from Sickle might be something that can transform their outlook and their life and probably might make their life a bit more productive, and that's something that they should definitely give it a shot and see what happens. But for the most part, I've had nothing but raving reviews for Sickle, and I've had great outcomes from it. And I said, I recommend that they should try it and see what it can do for them.
So I did not have many blood transfusions. I was right at this cusp, and usually I can totter over if I stop paying attention, but it wasn't as severe in that sense. But again, severity in sickle cell, we're talking about, do you die at 12 or 15 or 18? I mean, so this is contextual.
Why not give Sickle a try? Less pain, more stability in your life, sustained energy to help you live a better quality of life, and there is no toxicity. Order Sickle now online. You can go to our website at www.sickle.com. Sickle is a plant-based sickle cell supplement with a new and improved product that has more anti-sickle activity. For more information, you can call us toll-free at 855-994-2553 or email us at help@sickle.com. A special thanks to our sponsors, Sickle, the International We Love You Foundation, and TOVA Community Health.
Thank you for joining us for Sickle, a plant-based sickle cell supplement. Why not give Sickle a try? It has been clinically proven to improve those living with sickle cell's overall quality of life. And there's clinical research studies to show its benefit. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us today to learn about Sickle, a plant-based supplement. This is brought to you in partnership with TOVA Community Health.
Thank you all for joining us today. I didn't see any questions or comments yet in the chat box, so please send them in now. But before we get started, I wanted to just introduce our sickle cell warriors, Mr. Steve White and Nurse Ayyub Hanif. So please field in your questions, those who are on the Zoom platform, and also you can email us as well. And then we have some questions coming in live on Facebook as well. So I guess I'll start it off with you, Nurse Hanif. Can you talk about how the sickle supplement actually helped you get through nursing school?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I was recommended by a nurse, which was the first thing, which is why I trusted it. And she's a Nigerian nurse, and that's how she knew about it. But specifically the increased exercise tolerance. I was worried about 12-hour shifts. So I was actually very, very concerned. I had even wanted to maybe be a doctor at one point, but I never started that journey because I had sickle cell. So I did not believe I could work 12-hour shifts or to go through med school and to do the residency. So it specifically let me work those hours. Something very similar to what Steve had said in his, like, I wanted to do my best. And I never talked to other people with sickle cell to know that this is something that they think about. But I'm like, I just want to work. I just want to show you what I can do. I just want to get out of the box. And that's why I did it. And that's how it helped me, because you have to show up. There's no calling out. I'm here for you in your time of need. And really to do that, it absolutely did. I went through the program, 2 years of rigorous and discipline. And at that time, again, it wasn't sickle. So my formulation was not as good. I'm on sickle now, but at that time it was something different. So I went for it, really. I imported it. That's how important it was to me. And it really did make a difference. I truly believe, and this medication is the thing that allowed me. I was never on hydroxyurea. I was on the cusp. I have one of those variants, but it really impacted me. And this allowed me to stay strong and to have the exercise tolerance. And I was also So yeah, so that's why it just let me work and to not call out and be sick and to focus and to, not have a micro infarct or, stroke or anything. So it just kept me on top.
Thank you so much. We have another question from Dr. Gill. Shout out to Dr. Gill, my medical director. Thank you so much for joining. Dr. Gill asked this question. I'm going to field this to Dr. Coles. Is the phase 1 trial completed? If so, is it moving to phase 2 or phase 3? If so, when?
We have completed the phase 1A, and now we're in what's known as a phase 1B trial. And in that trial, we're looking at a specific condition. I can't really say too much of it, but we're also doing an additional dose escalation trial. So when that is done, the plan would be to make another application and then go to a phase 2. When that exactly will happen, I don't know. These trials tend to be a little complicated because the people with sickle cell have difficulties, and it's not necessarily that easy to get people to complete the trial. But it's working. We're in Downstate Medical Center, and again, the phase 1A, 1B is underway right now.
Thank you.
I saw there was another question come in about dose. Did I get that right?
Yes, that's from Rachel Anderson. She wanted you to ask about the doses that are recommended for patients to use.
Right now, the supplement dose, we came out with a new lot and we made the capsules slightly smaller, a little easier to take. So the dose is 2 capsules 3 times a day. And so a bottle of Sickle is a 1-month supply.
Thank you. I also, please send in more questions. We want to make sure that we answer all your questions and comments. I have another one that just came in, but before we take Anita Nagy's question, I wanted to ask you, Mr. Steve White, you work as in a property management company as a maintenance technician. That's a very laborious job. How does the sickle supplement help you? I mean, you have to lift air conditioned units, move furniture, fix cabinets. I mean, you're doing some heavy lifting and heavy laborious work for someone with sickle cell.
Working in this field is very labor intensive, and it's a lot of movement, and you never sit still for any long period of time. You're basically constantly on the move. But for me, I find myself to have less pain, have more energy in the morning when I wake up, and able to carry out my duties without any complications at all from me having sickle cell. So it's been a tremendous help to me, and I've seen the benefit because I think I was a part of the phase 1 trial, and that's where I kind of realized this is a product that really works, and it can really make a remarkable difference in my life. I can just imagine what a difference it can make in someone else's life as well.
Thank you.
So Dr. Neal, let me just make a short comment here because I think it might be appropriate relative to what Steve just said. So everyone that uses Sickle, no matter what else they report more energy. And we're interested in that. Now, in a clinical trial, that is not a clinical endpoint, but it's something that everyone reports. So we are keenly interested in trying to figure out why that is. And I think there are probably a couple of factors involved in it. Number one, if your red blood cells, you have sickle cell and the red blood cells don't sickle, of course, you're not going into crisis and you'll have more energy. But probably just as important, if you have a good night's sleep and you wake up refreshed, you're going to have more energy during the day. And that's kind of what Steve was reporting. So the idea of getting better sleep is something that might lead to this idea of having more energy. And so in the latest version of our clinical trial, we're actually monitoring people's sleep habits. In fact, we have them all. It's kind of an interesting little device that I have. I'm actually wearing one myself, if I can just show it up here. It monitors your sleep. Well, I figured if our patients are doing it, then I might as well do it as well. And yes, it does measure your activity during sleep or lack of sleep. So that might be a clinical endpoint in one of the upcoming clinical trials.
Thank you for that. Anita Nagy asked a question is, how can I know if I have sickle cell? I feel that to you, Dr. Coles, but Nurse
why don't we-
Hanif can also ask, or I can respond to that.
I think that you're best to respond to that, Dr. Nina. Why don't you do that?
So sickle cell is a genetic inherited disorder. So you're actually born with it, Anita. Most babies now in over all 50 states are screened at birth for sickle cell as part of their newborn screening panel. But if you moved here from another country or you're not sure of your sickle cell status, that's something that you can get done at a primary care provider office, which they can order a hemoglobin electrophoresis test, and that can determine if you carry the trait or have sickle cell disease. Okay. And then there's another question, Dr. Coles, is how much does a bottle cost?
We're offering the 30% discount for the remainder of the month on the 3-pack. So I believe per bottle, it would be $73 a bottle, and you get a 30% rebate. And the way we would do that is I would just put the rebate directly on the credit card. So once I receive an order, regardless of who it's from, for the remainder of the month, I'm just going to rebate it directly to their credit card. So if we do the math, let's see, 7 times, it'd be around $50 a bottle.
And you also said that you're providing that 30% off rebate for the whole month of June.
Yes.
So if you do, and if you get your order now, you can get that 30% off and get that 30% off rebate.
You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to do anything. Just when the orders come in, either I will do it personally or I'll have somebody rebate the 30%.
Thank you. Now, some may say, well, that's too expensive to pay that for a bottle of Sickle. And I wanted to ask both of you, you pay out of pocket for the supplement. Nurse Hanif, you actually bought a 2-year supply of Sickle.
That's true. Yes, I at the time, if you watch the video, I went to nursing school in 2008. So I got a year's supply, and in 2009, the company started to have financial difficulties and shut down. So I actually was on it. And so I become very nervous that the company is not going to stay in business. So I buy a 2-year supply. That's a byproduct of, so that's not something everyone, may have to do, but I couldn't go to work without it. It was that, important to me. And also I was married at the time. I'm not married now, but at the time I was. So having children and this thought, here was a medication, which we didn't really talk about on the video, but this really was a big deal. Is that the other options stopped me from being able to have children unless I go off of it for a significant period. So Sickle, and just keeping that option open and even talking to individuals. So that family planning is something that we really don't talk about maybe as much, the men, but it matters just as much to us, and it would matter to your spouse or your partner. So this was something that was important, it being a phytomedicine and natural in that particular impact. And the studies show that there was no side effect. The studies show that there wasn't. So this isn't something that was on the bottle like that. It was, I read the study myself, and it didn't show that there was these negative impacts.
So let me just, if I can just make a couple of comments, because I do get this question routinely, that it costs a little bit more than people are comfortable with. Well, this is not the kind of supplement that you generally get in GNC. This is a pharmaceutical product that we make in a pharmaceutical facility and bottled in a pharmaceutical facility. So basically, we sell the product at approximately what it cost us. But we just thought it was important to really get it out there in the marketplace while we were doing the clinical studies, which could take, who knows how long to actually get official approval of it. So people are suffering with sickle cell, and we thought it was really important to have this product available to them.
Thank you. And how about you, Mr. White? Can you share how you are able to pay for your Sickle and why you value to do that?
Sure. One of the ways I pay for my Sickle was that I have a flexible spending account with my employer. So I contribute money to this flexible spending account. And then I would go into the flexible spending account, and once enough money is in, I'll buy a 2 months, sometimes I'll buy a 3 month supply of Sickle. And that's how I pretty much afford it. But I also realized for myself, it's cheaper for me to pay for Sickle than pay for a hospital visit to the emergency room due to pain or crisis. So you weigh it out, you kind of realize it's a cheaper cost. And it's easier to spend on myself than taking the money and spending with the hospital. At least that's how I look at it. And that's how it has worked for me. So I wouldn't look at the cost. I'll look at the overall quality of life benefit that you may receive if you so choose to invest the money in yourself and buy the Sickle and use it. You won't regret it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's very important. The cost of a hospitalization, the cost of taking off of a sick day, the cost of not being able to work, that's worth the investment, and to put away money for a supplement that has helped you so much and you've benefited so much. So thank you all so much for joining us today. I do want to close by asking you a question is, do you think that in our community that we will see more sickle cell patients interested in alternative options to their care? And do you think their hematologist or their primary care provider will be open to this option? And I'll start with you, Nurse Hanif.
I'm gonna start with yes, absolutely. I could not be more excited for this product to be here. I was waiting for it, waiting for it to decay from the soil in Nigeria to get its way out of orphan drug status this way, so it can be on a flexible insurance account, so it can be on your insurance. So I'm accustomed to paying for it out of pocket, just because it wasn't. I had to import it. I had to force my doctor to do it. I had to say, here's the research here. So I had to force it. That's why I became a nurse. I had to take control of it. So absolutely more medications coming out. Like, this is absolutely amazing. And I can just, yes, it's great. I think so. It's awesome. I can't be more excited.
How about you, Mr. White?
If you repeat the question, I'm so sorry.
Do you see people, doctors, nurse practitioners, hematologists, those in the medical establishment to be more open to offer Sickle or other alternative treatment options to their patients?
I at this moment, to be honest with you, I did know the mindset is not really. I don't think people are adapting to this new alternative way of treating Sickle for the standpoint that it has no toxicity. It doesn't have any problem. It doesn't have any. It's not profit. It's not a big for profit type of entity where they make it, where there's a huge amount of profit that's being made from this. And I think that a lot of the hematologists, a lot of the primary care doctors that's looking at the Sickle patient will guide them towards this medication, but only when it's at the point where it's either too late or they done has so much hospital treatment and they have no further options for them. And they're looking at it, they say, this is the only next alternative I have. So they want to exhaust everything else that they can possibly exhaust, whether it be an hydroxyurea, giving them Procret for building up back their blood counts. Exhaust all the options before they would really take on the. Because it's about sticking your reputation against something that you are not so sure that you can guarantee your patient have a good response and good outcome. Even though I can speak to the fact that my personal experience, I've never had any type of side effects from being a Sickle customer for the 4 or 5 years that I've been using it.
Wow.
Can I respond again? To
Sure.
add something to that, and there was a question that came in about, is it safe? and this is really to the clinician, so this is to the hematologist, you are going to be worried about all the clinical endpoints, right? Up to date, right? Cochrane review, so this is for you, so you know what I'm referring to. The Cochrane review, up to date, this is the most up to date clinical reference. And when you look it up, Nicosan or Niprosan was in there. It has been, these are peer reviewed. They are absolutely, the science is strong. The science is strong and it's very strong. And you can understand what shifting an oxygenation curve really means. And for a patient to tell you, I'm in this profession to tell you to strongly consider this is a phytomedicine, and it's a part real research, and it's something that makes a impressionable difference. The insurance can say whatever they want to say, but enough that we'll go in our own pocket. But we need clinical guidance. Everyone is not a clinician to say, let me weigh hydroxyurea versus this. Let me weigh blood transfusions versus this. It doesn't mean this will replace everything. But there are people who have sickle beta thalassemia, 0+, hemoglobin C, complex heterozygous states that may not respond or need the same heavy-handed dose that comes from, let's say, hydroxyurea, which is based upon the maximum safe dose out of the research and not necessarily based upon what's the minimum dose necessary for effectiveness. So the science is very, very strong. I can say this because I say this to my hematologist, to my doctor, and say, I'm going to take what I believe because I'm the one who has had to choose since 10 years old of how my life will look when a doctor told me. And let me be clear, I have sickle beta thalassemia. They did not say I had sickle cell at the time. They said I had the trait and I should not have pain. And I was faking, and they were going to take me from my mother because I will not grow weight. My mother went with naturopathic methods. She absolutely fed us and did numerous things to keep me healthy when no doctor would admit until they had to run special tests to say, what is this? To go into the ER and explain to a doctor, to say, I'm taking this. And then he says, I know who Dr. Peter Gillette is. I know what you're taking. And I'm shocked. Really? You know your stuff now, resident. So
let me just add
sorry.
a couple of comments.
But to the hematologist, that's my point.
Let me add a couple of comments. It is obvious that doctors are put in a difficult situation trying to recommend a product which is not FDA approved. But I can tell you a couple of things. Again, as Ayyub said, that there are published clinical studies which show that Niprosan and our product SCD-101 or Sickle actually is effective in clinical practice. And I can also tell you that any doctor that knows about our clinical trial or has been participating in the clinical trial or associate or knew Dr. Peter Gillette recommends our product to it. But doctors generally are in a difficult situation making a recommendation, and that's because of things like liability in practice. That says nothing about the effectiveness of the product.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we do have one more comment that came in, and I wanted Dr. Coles to answer that before we close out. This was a person that asked, is sickle safe in pregnant women?
We have never done anything, no trials on pregnant women. And my recommendation and that of my partner is, under those circumstances and as several others, if we haven't gotten any clinical data, we cannot recommend it. That's not to say that it might be effective, but there are other risks, and we certainly don't need to, add risk to a sickle cell patient that's carrying a child.
Thank you. So I want to thank all of you for coming on today to join us for a plant medicinal based sickle cell supplement, Sickle. I hope you have learned so much from those who have used the supplement, how it has improved their quality of life. And I hope that you share this information with your friends, your colleagues, and those who are living with sickle cell, that they may be able to have a conversation with their hematologist and their sickle cell provider or the primary care provider about a trial of Sickle. But before we close out, I wanted to end with Dr. Coles. Do you have any last comments for our audience today?
No, but I just want to thank you for, putting on this program and having me on it. And thanks Steve and Ayyub for coming out and telling us about their experience with Sickle. And once again, congratulations to everyone on June 19th and having it a national holiday. I think that's great. Thank you again, Dr. Nina.
Thank you. And remember, you can go online at www.sickle.com. And for the month of June, you will get a 30% off rebate if you place an order for Sickle. Why not give Sickle a try? Thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.